What do you know about Lunar New Year?
When I have a worry-filled mind, I like to wander outside. No telling what we might find. Birds calling, worms crawling, leaves falling down from above. Oh, I plant my feet on the ground. I keep my head in the clouds. I let my feelings out loud. I hear joy calling, fear crawling, tears falling down out of love.
Welcome, friends. This is A here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love that I get to share lessons with you every Monday, so make sure you're subscribed so you can see them all. But if you'd like to join me for classes throughout the week or sometimes in the afternoon, make sure you check out my website. I'll be starting classes really soon, and I'd love for you to join me there as well. Now, before I get ahead of myself, I want to slow down and notice how I'm feeling. And I'd like you to do the same. I'm going to ask you to find an object that matches the zone that you're in right now. You may remember the zones of regulation back here, and I'm going to tell you a bit more about them if you don't remember or you don't know yet. As you can see, there are 4 different color zones, and no zone is good or bad, but we find ourselves moving through the different zones throughout the day, sometimes throughout our week. Let me tell you a bit more about them. The blue zone means we're feeling a little slow moving. You might be feeling tired or run down. You might be feeling sad or lonely. You might be feeling sick or unwell, just not quite fully comfortable or feeling ourselves. The green zone means we're feeling settled. We're thinking clearly. We may be feeling really confident or focused. We may be feeling really curious or interested. We may be feeling really calm and peaceful. The yellow zone means that we're starting to lose control. We're not feeling quite as peaceful or calm as the green zone. We might be feeling a little bit nervous or worried. We might be feeling a little bit frustrated or confused. And the red zone means that we are out of control. We are feeling overwhelmed or angry. We're feeling upset or grumpy. Remember, there are no good or bad zones. We experience all these different feelings because we're human, and we experience a lot of different feelings and emotions as humans. And so what I'd like you to do is think about what zone you're in right now. Are you feeling a little slow moving today in the blue zone? Are you feeling really comfortable in the green zone? Are you feeling like you're losing control in the yellow zone? Are you feeling like you've lost control in the red zone? Go ahead and grab an object that matches the color zone you're in right now. Did you find your object? Go ahead and say your color zone out loud. Green. Thank you so much for doing that. I want to remind you that if you're in the blue zone, you can try moving your body, getting some water, see if that helps you feel more comfortable. If you're in the yellow zone, try the same. And if you're in the red zone, I'd like you to pause and take a break. Anytime I'm feeling out of control, really overwhelmed or stressed, I need to pause and I need to take some deep breaths. Sometimes I need to take a walk or just practice being still and refocusing my brain and body. Now, we always practice some mindful moments together at the end of my episodes or lessons, so you can be sure to check out the one we'll do today, or you can always go back and check out our previous mindful moments too. They're great for helping you move toward the green zone. Now, another thing that's great for helping us move toward the green zone is exercising or moving our body. We always practice exercising together. We do this for a couple of reasons. One, it's great for us to practice moving and building muscles a little bit every day. It keeps us healthy. 2, it gives us some examples of how we can use this strategy or this tool throughout our week. And 3, it helps us think about the date and time that we're in during the year because we always use our month to help us. Do you know what month it is right now? Yes, I always have the month written up on the board here. And sometimes we use the month and we count up, and sometimes we use the month and we count down to keep track of our exercises. January is the first month, so we're going to start with one exercise, and then we'll count up and do 2 and 3. We also always have our friend Fig here, and Fig shows us one of the moves we'll be doing. Now, Fig is actually showing our first move, and I can say that Fig is shaped like this, but they could be shaped differently, and it would still be showing our first move. They could be shaped really differently, it'd still be our first move. One other clue. If Fig had some music on, I bet you'd be able to guess it right away. Do you know what Fig is doing? Dancing. Nice job. So we are going to do one dance move, whatever dance move you like. So go ahead, stand up if you want, or sit down and get ready to dance. Ready? Count with me. 1. Now, we are going to count up. What comes after 1? 2. We are going to do 2 head rolls. So sit up nice and tall, or stand if you prefer, and slowly roll your head as we count. Ready? 1, 2. Nice job. Finally, we have toe touches. We did 1 dance move, 2 head rolls. How many toe touches? 3. You can do these sitting or standing, whatever you prefer. Let's count to 3 as we touch our toes. 1, 2, 3. Amazing. Now you may notice that your heart is beating a little bit faster than it was before we started exercising. That means you're building your heart muscle. Your heart is a big muscle inside your chest. And anytime we get our heart rate up or increase it and it beats faster, once we're done, we want to cool back down. So go ahead and listen for a bell. And when you hear it, take a big belly breath in and slowly let it out. Wonderful work. Thank you for moving your body with me today. At the beginning of this episode, I asked what you knew about Lunar New Year, and I'm so excited to take out our message so we can talk about more together. Now, you may know that I hide onomatopoeias and alliterations and sometimes some spoonerisms, so be on the lookout. Dear delightfully diverse friends, yesterday, over 1.5 billion people around the world started celebrating Lunar New Year. Wowee! Were you one of them? Lunar New Year is celebrated during the first new moon, and in many cultures, animals are associated with different years. For example, 2023 is considered the year of the rabbit or cat, depending on who you ask. Each animal has their own characteristics, and in Chinese culture, people born in the year of the rabbit are kind and responsible, and in Vietnamese culture, those born in the year of the cat are attentive and compassionate. Do you know what animal is associated with your birth year? Love, Mrs. A. Friends, do you know what animal connects to your birth year? If you don't know, I would encourage you to look it up and see if you think those characteristics match you. Now, this isn't 100% true for everyone, but I really like this idea that we are connected to different animals or different creatures. It reminds me of MLK and the lesson I taught last week about our connectedness. I think we're all connected even if we don't notice it right away. Now, I want to share with you a little bit about Lunar New Year, and I have some incredible books to help us with that. This book is called Lunar New Year, and it's written by Hannah Elliott with illustrations by Alina Chow. And this just gives us a little bit of information about Lunar New Year, and I would encourage you to grab this one if you are curious about the history of Lunar New Year and kind of how it got started as a holiday. On the first day of the Chinese calendar, the new moon is in the sky and the stars shine bright. It is time for a big celebration. This festival is known by many names: Chinese New Year, Spring Festival, Lunar New Year, and more. It marks the passage of the harvest season and celebrates the coming spring. Before the New Year celebrations begin, we clean our homes and ourselves. This symbolizes washing away anything bad from last year and starting fresh. We feast and celebrate with our families because Lunar New Year is about preparing for good luck in the coming year, and it's also about family and honoring our ancestors. Do you have any traditions that you do every New Year? Me too. Many of the holidays' traditions come from a very old tale. There is an ancient Chinese legend that tells of a monster named Nian, who had the head of a bull and the body of an ox. Once a year, Nian would come out of hiding and scare people. The monster was afraid of three things: the loud crackling of burning bamboo, or fireworks, the color red, and the bright lights of lanterns. Now, if you grab this book, Lunar New Year, you'll hear a bit more about the history of Lunar New Year and the traditions that are celebrated around the world by 1.5 billion people. Whew. In that first book that we just looked at together, we heard about Nian. And Nian is the monster that is connected to the history of Lunar New Year. And this book is all about the Nian monster. It's written by Andrea Wang, illustrated again by Alina Chow. Long ago, Popo said, the Nian monster lived in the mountains. His jaws were as wide as caverns. His teeth were sharper than swords, and he was filled with a terrible hunger. Each year, Nian ate whole villages. Jingling gasped. What happened to him? Every monster has a weakness. Nian had three: loud sounds, fire, and the color red. Our traditions have kept Nian away ever since, Popo smiled. Now, I must go buy more noodles. Watch the casserole for me. Just like in our first book, I'm hearing that Nian is afraid of three things. Did you hear those three things? In the kitchen, Jingling lifted the lid and stirred the pot. The aroma of pork and cabbage wafted out the window. Tong! Tong! There on the balcony crouched a horrible beast. His jaws were as wide as caverns. His teeth were sharper than swords. Ayah! Jingling cried. Nian has returned! I have come to devour this city, growled Nian. He stretched his wide, wicked jaws and roared. All of the buildings in Shanghai shook. Uh-oh. Nian monster is back and he looks angry. How would you be feeling right now if you were Jingling, alone with this giant monster? Boy, I wonder what they're gonna do. Jingling pointed to the city below. We have red banners, lanterns, gongs, and drums. Why aren't you scared? Hey, the monster spat. That was thousands of years ago. Those old tricks don't frighten me anymore. I'm starving. He licks his lips. You will make a tasty appetizer. Wait! Jingling scanned the kitchen. Have a bowl of long life noodles first. If you live longer, you can conquer more cities. Nian stroked one pointy horn. You are wise, little one. Noodles first. Then you, then the city. Good. Wait for me in the park. Neon leapt down to People's Square and paced around the fountain. Jingling ran to the best noodle shop in Shanghai. She asked the head chef to prepare a special dish just for Neon. All day the chefs mixed and kneaded and pulled. Finally, they pushed the giant bowl in front of Neon. Why do you think Jingling offered to feed Neon? Isn't that just going to make him stronger? Let's see. Neon slurped and slurped and slurped. My stomach is too stuffed to eat more, he groaned. The chefs had made only one noodle, just one, the longest noodle in China. Neon belched. I will devour the city tomorrow. Do you see Jingling here? Yeah, they're winking at us and throwing up the peace sign. They are very clever. What do you think about their idea? I wonder what they'll do next when Neon wakes up. To find out, grab your own copy of The Neon Monster from your library or local bookstore. As always, you can visit the link in my description to grab it from your local bookstore by ordering it online. It's really simple. And while you're down there, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. And our last book today is by an author illustrator whose work I just adore. They actually work on movies too that you may have seen. They are very talented and very kind. And I wanted to share their book with you called Alex's Good Fortune. I wanted to share this one because we're learning about Lunar New Year or hearing about Lunar New Year if we already know about it. And this makes me think of why I like to create these videos and lessons for you. Because in this book, we see people sharing things with each other. We see people inviting their friends and sharing food and traditions. And that's one of my favorite things to do around a holiday or special time, is to invite my friends to share with me. And so we'll look at just a few pages of Alex's Good Fortune, written and illustrated by Benson Shem, but I definitely encourage you to grab your own copy. When Alex wakes up and remembers what day it is, she puts on her red shirt and red headband. Happy Chinese New Year, she says. Can I invite Ethan over for the holiday? Of course, Mom replies. Do you remember in this first book, we heard that Lunar New Year has many names. Chinese New Year is one of them. Ethan waves the dragon up and down. Alex holds the staff. What does it all mean? Asks Ethan. The dragon dance brings good luck to everyone, said Alex. I love that Alex is sharing all of her knowledge with her friend Ethan. Alex's favorite tradition is the Lantern Festival, which falls on the 15th day of the celebration. To mark the end of Chinese New Year, or Lunar New Year, friends and families go to the park to enjoy it. Alex and Ethan grab their lanterns and hang them on the tallest tree. The lanterns shine like stars in the sky. Friends, this book is filled with traditions and gives us lots of opportunities to learn, as well as in the back, where there is a glossary with some words that you'll find in this story, and also a beautiful collection of all of the different animals in the zodiac, or animals that I described earlier that are connected to different years. So you can find the one that matches your birth year when you grab your own copy of Alex's Good Fortune. You can also check out my Instagram, where I've shared a free craft that you can do to make your very own lantern for Lunar New Year. Before you go, I want to make sure we take a moment to practice some mindfulness together. And today's mindfulness stretch is inspired by Lunar New Year. You may have heard me mention that in Vietnamese culture, it's the year of the cat. And so I thought we could do a cat-cow stretch. Maybe you've tried this stretch with me before. Maybe you haven't tried it yet. All you need to do is find a flat surface, maybe the ground in front of you, the carpet nearby, or a yoga mat if you have one. And you're going to stand up on your knees and hands. Your body almost makes the shape of like a little table. And you're going to breathe in and round our back like a cat. And then we'll breathe out like a cow. And we'll do this for 3 breaths. Ready? Amazing job. How do you feel after trying that mindful stretch with me? Oh, yeah, you feel loose in your back. You feel a little silly. Yeah, that's okay. Practicing mindfulness can look and feel differently for each of us. Some people really like to do mindful movements or stretches. That was one of them. There are more in my previous videos, as I mentioned. Other people like to do mindful breathing or mindful looking or mindful listening. We practice examples of all of those in my videos, so be sure to hit subscribe so you can check them all out. Before you go, I want to remind you that I love you because you're you, not because of what you do. And I can't wait to see you next time.